Thanks a lot, Mr. Gates, for being here and sharing your experiences with us. You mentioned as a second criticism, increase health or growth of population, which has been mentioned to your actions. You correctly said that they are tied together. Well, you come from a country where health reform has been quite difficult to implement. I come from Romania, so we have this discussion, this public discussion ongoing in our country right now. So in my opinion, those two policies should be consolidated and put together in order to have good results. We don't find the way at the European level to bring health competencies at the European level. Don't you think that we should consolidate these kind of policies at the European level? Would it be a big advantage from your point of view? Because we are quite in the same manner like the United States.
Okay. It's true that we have to worry about human rights in these countries. There is a very positive track record that as you improve health, that improves incomes, and that as incomes go up, that both democratic norms and human rights improve. That doesn't mean we should simply focus on that. We can focus on human rights at the same time. And it's absolutely fair to say that the Chinese have not imposed human rights requirements on these African countries. I do think over time, Chinese policies will be better in these respects. We certainly, the foundation is spending time in China, offering to work with them on take some of their expertise and some of their resources to really in agriculture and in scientific innovation about the poor countries. So I think it can be shaped to be a positive force. In terms of water, water is very basic. Agricultural in particular requires a lot of water. A lot of poor women go very long distances to get water. A lot of that water is dirty and causing significant health problems. And so we have a special program on water. Water is another topic that's kind of ignored. The Netherlands has done a lot of funding in the water area, and there is room for innovation in terms of how you capture rainwater, how you clean water, and then another special topic for us is toilets, designing toilets that are very, very good, that don't require lots of water. In terms of the United Nations, I agree that those organizations are very important. Our closest partner in our health work is the World Health Organization, and the World Health Organization is quite well run. It still has some of the complexities of being a UN agency in terms of the personnel system and the regional offices, so I wouldn't say that it's perfect, but Margaret Chan and the top team there are very good. From time to time, some of the UN agencies, for example in the area of agriculture, have not been as well run, and the ability to step back and be willing to make changes in these agencies when they're not well run, it's interesting to think how we could improve that ability. I agree with you that the United States should have a more constructive view. They sort of tried the approach of whether you could starve the UN into excellence, and they tried that approach for about 5 or 6 years. And in fact, if anything, I would say that it hurt the budgeting and planning, and so clearly starvation is not the thing that will cause bureaucracies to become brilliant and efficient. And so I think a more positive approach would make sense. You know, the UN agencies play very important roles, so how could we make them slightly more modern, slightly more efficient? I think that's an interesting discussion, because, you know, many of the assumptions when those were first built 30, 40 years ago, you might reassign some things and change some things. But there are very good partners, particularly in our case UNICEF and WHO, and I certainly speak positively about them, and I hope the U.S. is better about paying its dues and being positive. In terms of population, yeah, we were involved in new tools so women can do birth spacing. In terms of whether health things should be done at the European level, I'd be quite skeptical of that. You know, the United States has no positive lessons in terms of controlling health costs. You know, it's nice when the United States does something well. We run elite universities well, we fund basic research well. There's some stuff we do well, and then it's nice when the rest of the world sees that and can benefit from it. There's some things that, if we have any example at all, it's not a positive example, and healthcare efficiency is one such. In fact, I'd say that Europe, through a variety of techniques, has achieved far more efficient health systems than we have, and so in that case the learning should go the other way. I do think it would be very difficult to run something like that at the European level. The complexity, even at the country level, of something like the NHS is pretty mind-blowing, and you know, I hope the U.S. improves. In terms of why do I give, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, certainly my parents were quite generous, and I learned about it. Certainly my Microsoft experience showed me that when you combine some resources with some innovation, some magical things can happen. It's also partly a belief that leaving large wealth to one's children is not good for them or for society. And so once you make that decision, then you have to say, well, can I spend it on myself? Well, that's, at a certain level, that's hard to do. You know, I like hamburgers, but I can only eat, you know, maybe 4 a day is sort of the most that I can get through, and I do buy nice ones. And you know, books, and you know, there aren't that many things, and so it's been, you know, something that my wife Melinda and I have enjoyed working on, is thinking, okay, is there something we can do? I have to admit, when we first started, we thought all the important, really good stuff somebody would have already done, and so although in a certain way it was kind of sad to realize that areas like malaria had gotten so little investment, it did, in fact, give us an opportunity to feel like, okay, we'll go into malaria, we'll fund a vaccine, we'll fund a lot here and bring the visibility up. And so, you know, it's a very lucky thing that now I feel like here in my second career, that the opportunity for impact is, if anything, even greater than in my first. So, you know, I'd say I've been lucky, and you know, I'm certainly sharing the fact that I enjoy this, and that I think for anyone who's has resources, the younger you start, the more you get personally involved, the more you collaborate with others, the bigger the impact you can have.